I know this is going to sound insane, and honestly, I still can't believe I actually did it. But before you judge me, I need you to hear the whole thing. Imagine finding out that the person you trusted most in the world, the one you built your future around, was betraying you with someone you considered almost a friend. Now, imagine standing there, heart shattered, trying to hold yourself together, when you realize that the only way to stay sane is to get even. Not loudly, not violently, but in a way so subtle and poetic that they'd never see it coming. That's exactly what I did. And yes, I know how it sounds. But tell me honestly, after everything, was I really wrong for what I did? It started about 1.5 years ago. My name's Lena, and at that time, I was 28, working as a nurse in a mid-sized city hospital. I'd been dating my boyfriend Ryan for almost 4 years. He was charming, funny, the kind of guy who always made people feel like they were the center of the universe when he talked to them. We met during my first year at the hospital. He was a physical therapist in the same building. I remember the first time he smiled at me across the staff lounge. That warm, easy grin that made my stomach do flips. He had this calm, reassuring energy, the kind you crave after long, exhausting shifts. Over time, that smile became home. We moved in together 2 years later, into a cozy apartment just outside the city. We had plans, marriage, maybe kids in a few years, saving for a small house with a garden. Everything felt solid, stable. I trusted him completely. He was my person. Or at least that's what I thought. Enter Melissa. She was a new nurse in my department. Young, loud, the kind of girl who lit up a room just by walking into it. Everyone liked her instantly. She was good at her job and had that natural charm that drew people in. At first, I liked her too. We'd chat during shifts, grab coffee sometimes, even follow each other on Instagram. She'd compliment my scrubs or my hair and laugh at everything I said. She was just one of those effortlessly magnetic people. I had no idea that behind that sweet smile, she was slowly threading herself into my life, and into Ryan's. It started small. I remember one day, she mentioned she had this chronic skin condition, eczema, or something like that, and that she was using a special prescription cream. She'd complain about flare-ups and ask if I'd seen any good dermatologists around. I even helped her once by recommending a doctor friend of mine. That's how innocent it all seemed. But then, little things started to feel off. Ryan and I used to have dinner together every night, no matter how busy we were. Then suddenly, he started coming home late. Extra patients, he'd say, or staff meeting ran long. I believed him, at first, but one night, he left his phone on the couch while showering, and a notification popped up from someone named M. I remember thinking, Melissa. But I brushed it off. I wasn't that jealous girlfriend who snoops through phones. I trusted him. Until I couldn't. A few weeks later, I was working a night shift, and Melissa mentioned she'd been hanging out with a friend who worked in physical therapy. My stomach dropped. It was too much of a coincidence. I laughed it off, pretending not to notice, but the pit in my stomach stayed for days. Something was wrong, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. So, one night, when Ryan was asleep, I did what I swore I'd never do. I checked his phone. My hands were trembling so badly that I almost dropped it. And there it was, dozens of messages. Late-night texts, photos, flirty comments, things that made my stomach twist and my heart splinter. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. You looked amazing in that dress. Wish she'd go on another night shift so I could stay over. I felt like I was going to throw up. My chest burned, and I remember sitting there in the dark, staring at the screen while tears blurred my vision. My whole world collapsed silently in that moment. The man I loved, the man I trusted, was sleeping beside me, and he was cheating on me with someone I saw every day at work. For days I couldn't eat, couldn't focus. I went through the motions, smiling at patients, pretending everything was normal while inside, I was breaking apart. I didn't confront him right away. I wanted to be sure, to see how deep the betrayal went. And it went deep. I found out they'd been seeing each other for almost 6 months. Half a year of lies. Half a year of him holding me. kissing me while also being with her. When I finally confronted him, it wasn't like in the movies. No screaming, no throwing things. I just stood there, holding his phone out, my voice shaking as I asked, "How long?" His face went pale. He tried to deny it at first, but the evidence was right there. Eventually, he broke down and admitted everything. "It didn't mean anything," he said. "It was just physical. Just physical." As if that made it better. As if the emotional wreckage he left behind was any less devastating. I kicked him out that night. He begged, cried, promised to change. But I couldn't even look at him. I packed his things and left them by the door. I told him to leave my keys and never come back. That was supposed to be the end. But life doesn't tie up neatly like that. Because the next day I still had to go to work, and there she was, Melissa, smiling, laughing, her perfect little face untouched by guilt. I don't know if she even knew I'd found out, but when our eyes met I saw something. A flicker. Guilt, maybe? Or maybe just annoyance that her secret was out. She didn't apologize. Didn't say a word. Just kept working like nothing had happened. And that's when something inside me shifted. I wasn't gonna let her walk away clean. I wasn't gonna scream or humiliate her. I was gonna make her feel it, the way I did. Slowly. Deeply. About a week later, I overheard her talking to another nurse about her prescription cream. She'd just refilled it. It was kept in her locker. A little white tube she used a few times a day because her skin flared easily. And that's when the idea, the awful, brilliant idea, formed in my head. I knew it was wrong. I knew it was petty. But after everything she took from me, I wanted her to look in the mirror and finally see the ugliness she'd hidden behind that flawless smile. So one night, when I was staying late to finish paperwork and the locker room was empty, I acted. Melissa's locker wasn't hard to spot. She had it decorated with stickers and her name written in cursive. I knew the code because she once gave it to me when she asked me to grab her wallet during an emergency shift. I opened it quietly, my hands shaking, heart pounding so loudly I thought someone would hear it. There it was, the cream. I went to my car, grabbed the small bottle I'd prepared. It wasn't dangerous. I'd never hurt anyone like that. But it was a strong, heavy-duty cosmetic skin dye used for marking patients during certain treatments. It stained skin for days, sometimes weeks. Safe, but incredibly stubborn. I switched the labels perfectly, put her real cream in my bag, and left the locker just as I found it. The next morning, I could barely focus. My conscience battled with my anger. Part of me wanted to undo it, to stop myself before it went too far. But then I saw her, standing by the nurse's station, laughing with another coworker, twirling her hair. Like nothing ever happened. Like she hadn't destroyed my relationship. That guilt disappeared instantly. 2 days later, the results started showing. She came in wearing more makeup than usual, complaining that her skin felt weird. By the 3rd day, her hands and parts of her neck had started turning a strange, blotchy bronze color, uneven, patchy, impossible to hide. Everyone noticed. She looked panicked, confused. She kept scratching, asking if anyone else's lotion smelled different. I just smiled politely and told her maybe it was a new formula. By the end of the week, she stopped coming to work. Rumor was she'd taken time off because of a bad allergic reaction. I never confirmed it, but I heard she went to a dermatologist who told her it would take time for the stains to fade. And me, I felt complicated. There was satisfaction, yes, a deep, vindicating satisfaction that she'd finally been humbled. But there was also guilt. I'd done something cruel, even if it was justified in my mind, distance. So that's the situation I was in. I'd caught my boyfriend cheating with a coworker, thrown him out, and then secretly switched her prescription cream with a heavy, duty skin dye. She paid a price, but so did I, in a way. Because even though I felt empowered, I also felt a darkness I didn't know I was capable of. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below. What would you have done in my shoes? Would you have confronted her directly, walked away, or done what I did? A few weeks passed. Ryan tried reaching out again. He said Melissa had gone crazy, that she blamed me for what happened, even though she couldn't prove anything. He said he wanted to talk, to make things right. I told him to go to hell. I didn't owe him closure. I didn't owe either of them anything. Eventually, I got rid of everything that reminded me of him. The photos, the gifts, even the stupid coffee mug he'd bought me that said, "Best nurse ever." I started focusing on myself again. Therapy, friends, picking up hobbies I'd dropped when our relationship consumed my life. I rebuilt myself, piece by piece. Then one afternoon, months later, I ran into Melissa. I almost didn't recognize her at first. Her skin had mostly cleared up, but she looked different. Tired, smaller somehow, she saw me and froze. For a long moment, we just stared at each other. There was no confrontation, no shouting, just silence. Then she looked down, whispered, "I'm sorry," and walked away. It was strange, distance. I thought I'd feel triumphant, but instead I felt something close to peace. Maybe because, finally, she'd acknowledged it. Or maybe because I'd realized revenge doesn't heal you. It just distracts you long enough to stand back up. Ryan eventually moved out of the city. I heard from mutual friends that he's dating someone new, and honestly, I don't care. I'm done being the girl who keeps looking back at the wreckage. I'm someone new now. Stronger. Colder, maybe. But free. Sometimes, I still think about that night in the locker room, the moment I chose to cross that line. Would I do it again if I could go back? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't regret making her see consequences for what she did, but I do regret letting her take that much of my peace. I wish I'd walked away sooner. Before bitterness made me someone I didn't fully recognize. So, that's my story. My petty revenge on the side piece who thought she could get away with everything. I didn't scream, I didn't fight. I just let karma borrow my hands for a moment. And if that makes me the villain, then maybe that's fine. Because sometimes, distance. Healing isn't about forgiveness. It's about reclaiming the power you lost. Like this video if you were on my side, or if you think she got exactly what she deserved. Subscribe for more stories like this, and tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest revenge you've ever seen or done? I'll see you all in the next story.